Hello, I'm Bill Bullard with RCAF USA, the voice of the independent cattle producer in the United States of America. Well, during the past quarter century, the United States abandoned policies designed to strengthen the domestic economy, and it did this in favor of relying on global markets to decide where around the globe the world's manufacturers would locate, where around the globe the best paying jobs will settle, and where around the globe much of our food production will take place. Now, this focus on global markets, known as globalism, rather than a focus on domestic markets and what's in the national interest of Americans, was an abject failure. America offshored much of its manufacturing production. It offshored many of its good paying full time jobs in favor of lower paying part time service type jobs. It weakened America's national security interests, and it weakened the nation's food security because not only do foreign food imports displace U.S. production, they also leverage down domestic farm and ranch prices, forcing more and more farmers and ranchers out of business. So as America backs away from this failed global experiment, it does so very slowly because there continues to be very powerful forces, namely multinational companies with no particular loyalty to any particular nation's economy, that want the United States to jump right back into this experiment. So enter Buy American policies. They're a bridge from where we've been to where we want to go. That is, to the eventual reshoring of manufacturing and jobs and the rebalancing of global trade with an emphasis on ensuring national food security through self-sufficiency in food production. Now, Buy American policies focus on government spending, recognizing that government expenditures on manufactured products and food products are a major contributor to a nation's gross domestic product. And those Buy American policies survive the globalist attacks that say they undermine free trade with this simple proposition. Because government expenditures are made with citizens' tax money, those citizens have a right to direct their expenditures to domestic manufacturers and domestic farmers and ranchers so as to strengthen their domestic supply chains and improve their well-being. Right now, there are political fights on many fronts regarding Buy American policies. For example, the U.S. Postal Service wants to buy 165,000 new postal trucks from a company that says it uses strategic global purchasing capabilities to obtain the parts and components for the trucks. But they say the final assembly will occur in the United States. Now, domestic manufacturing groups are pushing back, saying all the parts, all the components, and the final assembly should be done in the United States if the federal government is going to use our tax money to purchase those trucks. And we agree. And there's a similar political fight over what beef our federal government must buy through federal meals programs, like the National School Lunch Program for feeding our children and for our military. Now, we're strongly urging the government to purchase only beef from cattle born, raised, and slaughtered in the United States for those federal programs, so our tax money is used to exclusively support our domestic live cattle supply chain. But like those who say it's good enough that the final assembly of postal trucks is done in the United States, there are those who say so long as the animal is slaughtered in the United States, it should be eligible for use in our school lunch and other federal programs. And we ask the question, why should our tax money be used to support the Mexican and Canadian live cattle supply chains that are already displacing market opportunities for U.S. cattle farmers and ranchers? Now, recently, a group called the United States Cattlemen's Association sent a letter to the administration urging it to purchase beef from live animals that are further processed in the U.S. for their federal purchasing programs. That means they want the beef from imported cattle to be considered a product of the United States for purposes of federal purchases, so long as it is further processed in the United States. Now, we responded with a letter to the president urging him to reject that request on the basis that federal expenditures must go towards strengthening domestic live cattle supply chains. And the only way to do that is to reserve the product of the United States designation only for cattle that are exclusively born, raised, and slaughtered right here in the United States of America. And we urge you to help us to ensure that our school children and our military receives only the best beef in the world raised under the best of conditions. And of course, that's USA beef. And you can do this by calling your members of Congress and telling them only beef from cattle born, raised, and slaughtered in the United States should be purchased for our nation's school children and for the military. And also, please go to our website at r-cafusa.com to join with us so we can become strong enough to help you direct your U.S. cattle industry toward a more profitable and prosperous future for you and for the next generations. With that, have a productive week. Thank you and goodbye.